All right. That's what's up. What's going on, y'all?
Hey, y'all.
12 o'clock on the dot. This is probably one of the first times that we have ever gone live on time. Just want to put that out there.
You have ever been available to go live on time. Y'all don't let this
out there that Coach Tosha is queen pin of making me late to live appointments. Yes.
Yeah. Lies.
Yes.
The dishonesty.
Anyways, today we are talking about some really, really awesome stuff with the political climate that's out there right now and everything that's going on. I know for a fact anxiety is on 20, right? I know for a fact anxiety is on 20 right now. So I know y'all are eating crazy. You're snacking, you're watching CNN or Fox or whatever you're watching, and you're snacking, and your anxiety and stress levels are super high. First and foremost, if you're watching this live, make sure that you put live in the comments. I see we got about 2 people on right now. But if you are watching this live right now, put live in the comments. If you're watching it on the replay, type replay in. But as we get some more folks in, Tosha, how are you doing with this whole thing going on right now?
I hate it when you ask me things like this because it's going to sound so just like fairy. You know, I'm a stoic. I'm a G. So, I mean, for me, I'm just chilling. Nothing is different.
Okay. Well, for me, I am, thanks for asking.
You didn't even give me that. Benny, how are you doing and how are you handling
it? I am doing okay. I'm trying not to really get too much into this whole political thing and kind of keeping my head on straight. So whatever happens is going to happen. My life is going to be my life, and I ain't got no control over it. And I'm just going to do what I got to do regardless. So
you have all the control over your life, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have control over the election. I have all the control over my own life.
Yes.
So that's what it is. So what we decided to do is to talk about snacking because we know right now, folks right now are full of anxiety. Folks right now are stressing the heck out and probably eating everything possible and, letting that get the best part of them. So we're going to talk about some how to beat anxiety tips and habits because we are doing a 14-day no snacking challenge that's going to kick off Monday. It kind of kicks off Sunday, like everything kind of kicks off on Sunday, but the official first day is on Monday. So what's up, Amy? So we are going to kick that off then. So we are hoping that you guys join us for that challenge, and the information should be the link to join the challenge is absolutely free. Is inside of the bio. And some of the tips that we give you today, what's going to happen is we're going to take that and give you the accountability to do it and hopefully create a habit over a 14-day process, right? Does that sound about right, Tasha?
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right. So Passion said, God must have told you about me eating everything. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Passion. Yeah, I know people are eating everything in sight. They're stressed out. They don't know what's going to happen. Their person, whoever that person is for them, may be winning or losing, and they're on, everything's on tilt. So we're going to give you some tips and some things like that. So Tosh, let's talk about it a little bit. First of all, snacking. We know that snacking can be all bad as far as diets and people's nutrition is concerned. I know one of the main things that I talk to my clients about, I have clients who don't really eat a lot of whole foods. They may eat one meal and they say, well, I don't really eat a lot of food all throughout the day. And then I say, well, you're eating something because you're gaining weight, right? And they're like, oh, well, I snack a lot throughout my day, or I eat smaller things throughout my day. And what they don't realize is what effect that can do to their weight loss, what it could do to their metabolism, just a lot of different things that plays a role when it comes to snacking. So give us a little bit of an idea of that whole thing, like what can snacking do, and just taking it.
I think that, well, one, I always like to go back into like the how did we even get here in the first place? And I think the thing that we tend to mistake is that, like back in the day, we didn't even snack. This wasn't even a thing. So the whole and we have to remember how these things come about in the first place, because we like to think like, oh, well, this is just regular, but snacking as a whole mindset, if you will, didn't come about until about like the 80s, I think it was. And all of that was from marketing. It was marketing. So it was just a way to get us to purchase, us as, the peoples, to get
Right.
us to purchase more food. So then it was like, okay, they're only eating three squares, they being us, of course, the collective us. So, they're only eating three meals a day. And so, like, let's find a way to get people to eat more food. And so this whole marketing campaign for snacking came about. And y'all know, like, when we talk about snacking, most of the time people aren't like, oh, I'm going to snack and have like an apple. Like the snacks that were created from the whole marketing scheme were like those crunchy snacks, those chewy snacks, those sweet snacks, those salty snacks, things that light up on our taste buds, on our tongue and in our minds, that get us highly addicted. Remember, we have to go back and sometimes just kind of like figure out like, okay, where did this come from? How did we get here? And yeah, that's snacking was something that was devised. It wasn't something that we've always done.
Mm.
So with that being said, now let's move on to where we are. The issue when it comes to snacking is that we aren't snacking on things that are necessarily healthy for us. And
Right.
even if we are snacking on things that are healthy for us, it's not in our system, metabolism, insulin levels best interest to always be like breaking down, figuring out food. You know what I mean? So our systems were meant to have a rest period. Our stomachs need time, our digestive system, our insulin levels, everything needs time to have a rest. So what I like to equate snacking to is, let's say that you had a kitchen floor and you're sweeping, because that hurts more than vacuuming. So let's say that you're sweeping up a dirty floor and you're just kind of sweeping and it's like everything's cool, and you're maybe like halfway through the sweeping and somebody dumps some like a fresh thing of dirt on there and you're like, yo, so you start sweeping and then more gets dumped on there. That's essentially what you're doing when you're snacking, because that sweeping is what's happening with your small intestines as things are just kind of working, and your stomach as things are working through the system. So we never give things a break, which means that your insulin levels stay high. And that can cause a lot of issues there, from insulin resistance, weight gain, feelings of consistent hunger. And your body is always smarter than you, and it doesn't care about your goals. And it will also do whatever you train it to when it comes to cravings and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get into the habit of eating like every hour or two or grazing, then you're also going to constantly be hungry, because the insulin levels never get a chance to chill out, which it takes at least 2 hours after a meal, or about an hour to two after a meal, before your insulin levels kind of go back to normal before you ate something, because insulin gets released each time you eat something. And so like
So
we
wait,
just never have a chance to chill.
so pause there for a second. So I know I was talking to a client yesterday who was telling me that she eats every 2 hours. And when
Yes.
I told her that, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of food in a day. If you think about it, if you're eating every 2 hours, you're really consuming a lot of food. And a lot of things that she was telling me she's eating is, well, she's like, well, I'm eating fruit. I eat a lot of fruit. I eat a lot of nuts. I eat a lot of just different little things like that. And I don't really think what she really understood was that even if you're eating healthy, right, you're still in overconsumption if you're eating every 2 hours, right?
Correct.
So what would you suggest for, or to tell people, what is that gap or space of time that you think that they should be eating throughout that period of the day?
Well, a lot of times we are also snacking because we're not making enough time to eat meals, or we are not eating balanced meals. So whenever you have a balanced meal, a protein, a carb that also includes plant-based protein, carb, fat, veggie, when you have that in portion and balance, you aren't hungry like that.
Right.
So a lot of times, like my first question, whenever someone's telling me about how much they snack, I'm just like, are you hungry or are you like snacky? Because, like those are two very different things. And a lot of times, if they say that they're hungry, then we have a conversation. Well, what meal did you have before then? Like, how long has it been?
Right.
Because the way that it works, like, it takes about 4 hours for food to kind of like go through your whole system. I think it's either 2 or 4 before it leaves your stomach, something like that. But it takes a period of time for like that whole digestive process to really happen. I think it's 4 for it to leave your stomach. So like there should be that time frame in between. If the meals are just very light, like you're just doing a lot of like a high starch, lower protein, which unfortunately we as women tend to do, we lack our starches, then you're gonna get hungrier a lot faster. But when we find that we have a balanced meal, that's when we're not there's we aren't even thinking about snacking from a hunger standpoint, because then there's the snacking from an emotional standpoint.
Which is
There's
what I want to talk about next. I'm gonna talk about the
yes,
mindset piece.
because there's a lot of different hungers. There's physical hunger, like the real deal. There's emotional hunger, which is what a lot of folks are going through right now. And then there's even like sensory hunger, which is, you weren't thinking about Burger King at all, because like this is going to be a little shade, but like who really thinks about Burger King, like for real, like crave Burger King? But nonetheless, but then you see a commercial for Burger King and you're like, yo, I want a Whopper. So that's more of that like sensory type of thing. It wasn't even on your mind until you saw a commercial for it. And then there's even just I don't even know what they label it as, but if there's a situation or a song that comes about, or you drive by a certain place and it triggers a memory for you, like if you heard this song and when you were maybe one time you were eating ice cream and when you heard that song, then it could trigger wanting ice cream. So there's a lot of different types of hunger, but with snacking it's usually, sometimes it's physical, but a lot of times it's emotional.
Right. So
I feel like all of my answers are TED Talks.
Right.
Like, yo, what am I doing?
Bro, you legit. Like I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go away and come back real quick.
I've had coffee.
Yeah, I mean, dang, like this is legit, like a little TED talk you just gave just now. Like, holy,
like, what am I doing? Why am I still talking?
Like, that's what I was saying. I'm like, if you don't shut up real quick, dang, that's why else.
Hey.
All right, so let's talk a little bit, and then here I am about to go on a TED talk, right? So let's talk about the emotional side of that whole mindset piece of snacking, right? So we're building up right now, talking about what it can lead to. We're talking about now. We're going to talk about some of the, she touched on, or Tosha touched on some of the context of what may kick these things off, and then we're going to get into a little bit about how you can beat some of these things. Right. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little about from the emotional side, because that is the side that a lot of snacking really does come from. A lot of us, and if you are a person who's watching this right now, if you are an emotional eater, I want you to put a thumbs up or give us some hearts right now if you are an emotional eater.
And pause. So I'm going to do a slight correction of that, because we always say, we put these labels on ourselves. I'm not big on labels. I split hairs on this. So you're not an emotional eater, folks. Like, this is not who you are. It is just you are in the habit of eating out of emotion.
Okay, thank you for correcting that. If you eat out of whatever she just said, out of habit, she just took my whole dang thought and twisted it up. But if you are a person who habitually eats when you're feeling emotional, not that you are giving yourself a negative context of a tagline, right? If you are a person who does this, comment below and raise your hand. Amy raised her hand. What up, Tamara? Rose is on here live as well. Cool. So a lot of this. So let's talk about the emotional side of this, because that's where most of this drives from. Okay. Most of the times when you have some type of snacking habit, it's coming from some type of emotion, whether it's positive or negative, right? There is a trigger of why that's happening, right? So the trigger is, okay, I am upset about this thing, right? Or this is going on that has upset me. And or I'm bored is another one. That's a big one, right? Bored is another trigger, right? Tamara says, I actually don't eat, right? She's the opposite. Okay. So she doesn't eat when she's emotional, which a lot of people have as well. Passion raised her hand. She says this happens to her, right? So from an emotional standpoint, what happens is we get upset. We're bored. We're sitting there watching TV, and what Tosha says is it is like these signals automatically happen. One of the signals can be from when you sit down and you watch TV, you automatically start to think that you need to have something in your hand or to be munching on something because that's what you've always done. When we go to the movie theater, sometimes we're not like I can go to dinner and then go to the movie theater and feel out of place because I am not eating popcorn or I'm not physically eating something while I'm watching the actual movie. We've been programmed to think sometimes that this is what we have to do. That when we're sitting down, we're bored, we have to have something while we're eating, we're watching TV, or something happens and emotionally it triggers us to want to eat food, right? And what it does is it actually puts this negative connotation when with food and us, or it gives us a negative. I don't know the word that I'm trying to use here. It gives us a negative. Maybe I did use the word right. We have an emotional and a negative emotional connection to food, right? We don't look at food as something that fuels us. We look at food or heals us. We look at food as some type of crutch or some type of emotional thing that pulls us to it, right? So we have to kind of get ourselves out of that mindset of using food as this resource that it's not supposed to be used for. And that's what a lot of us use food for when we're thinking about snacking. It normally drives from an emotional standpoint. We're not even hungry, right? But in our brain, something happens or some type of activity is going on. And what it does is it triggers us to want to put something in our mouth, even though that we're not hungry. It could be something salty, it could be something sweet, or it could be a combination of both, right? So when these things happen, you have to ask yourself physically, why am I about to do this, right? Why am I about to go into the cupboard or go into the pantry and pull out a Snicker bar or get Doritos, nachos only if you do anything else, you're hella weird. But I'm just saying. So why are you about to go into the cabinet and go pull out anything else and go put it in your mouth just because you're having this emotional connection or this emotional disconnect and that's causing you to want to eat? So you really have to identify. So how can you get around that, right? One of the things that you can do to get around that is one, identify what the trigger is, right? Identify what the trigger is. What is causing me to want to go eat, right? And then once you identify the trigger, then you have to create a habit, right? Or some type of habit that says, I'm identifying that this is why I go snack or eat or do whatever when I'm not really necessarily hungry. And then what happens out of that trigger? When this happens, I tend to sit there and binge on X, Y, and Z or these types of things for this reason. So this is the cause, this is the outcome of what happens then, right? And then what can I do within 60 seconds or less to be able to stop this from happening, right? So you identify what the problem is, right, which is the trigger. Then you say, what is the outcome of the trigger? And then within 60 seconds or less, you create a new habit to not let that happen every time that trigger happens. Does that make sense, Tosh?
It does.
Yes. So can you expand on that a little bit more?
So to expand on that a little bit more, it's also figuring out what you're getting from it. So the reward part of that whole loop, because what Benny's talking about is a habit loop. So you have a cue, trigger, response, and then that response is the habit that you have. And then there's the reward from that. And even though you're like, I'm not getting a reward from it, I'm gaining weight. That's not a reward.
Right.
But you are getting a reward because you wouldn't do it if you didn't get anything from it.
Mhm.
So a lot of times that reward is a distraction from whatever you need to actually deal with. Sometimes it is it's comfort. Sometimes usually it's more of like that comfort distraction.
Yes.
Okay. And just like yeah, because distraction would be with like that releasing of anxiety or something like that. So we also have to, because if your new habit doesn't give you that same reward, then it's going to be really hard to stick to. And definitely, like what Benny said, within that 60 seconds, it also needs to be something. There's two things. You need to make habits that are not great for you much harder to get to. And then those habits that are good for you, make them super easy to come by. So I know we're going to get into some of the more logistics of how to, stop with the habits, but that's like a big part of it. So we need to make this snacking thing much harder to come by. And there's definitely some strategies for that too.
Yeah, because some of your houses or some of your environments that you're in aren't set up for you to be successful in what the habit that you need to create, right? So, like I said, we identify the trigger. The trigger is when X happens, I do Y, right? So we identify the trigger. Then we say, when that happens, this happens for me. I go into a binging thing. I feel guilt thereafter for doing that. I don't feel good about myself. These things happen after the trigger happens. And then post that, creating that habit in 60 seconds or less to be able to not do those things that are identified in the trigger. And like she says, but in order for that to happen, you have to be able to create a space or make sure that your environment and your space that you're in is set up so that you are successful. It is set up so that you don't fail. What does that mean? If you know that you go for Doritos, you can't have a house full of Doritos and you have a place to go get them from. You literally have to go in your car, drive to 7-Eleven, and get a bag of Doritos, right? And even though sometimes that may happen, but it is an easier thing. It is a way easier thing to manage than having things directly so close to you and being such easy access for you to fall and slip up. So let's talk about some things that we can do to beat these bad snacking habits. We already just kind of talked about cleaning up your environment, right? So let's talk about that a little bit, Tosha.
That's always my number one thing. Don't bring it in your house, because the law, the rule, the way it goes is that if it is in your house, you will eat it. You're going to find it. So, and I'm with Amy. Like, yeah, first of all, I don't keep anything in my house. And then, and I mean, I live in the city. I'm a 5-minute walk, probably less, to convenience stores, grocery stores, things of that nature. I can get it fast. But even just that little obstacle of, I got to put on shoes. Like, right. I don't even feel like doing that. You know what I mean? So that
let me tell you something. And if you do all of that, then you really, really deserve to eat them Doritos.
And I'm fine with that too, because right. Like if I'm just like, okay, and for us ladies, it's like I gotta put on a bra, I gotta put on shoes, like I'm in my pajamas, like I gotta do all of that and leave the house and walk just to get this thing. And honestly, quite frankly, like that's just way too much for me typically. Right. Like I'm too lazy for that. But I mean, on the times that I do, hey, I feel good about it. I don't feel any sort of guilt, and you shouldn't either. But yeah, first
you should not listen. If you don't have it in your house and you put all your shoes on and you go out there in the cold and you either walk to the store or you drive to the store, you you better savor them things.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Yes.
Because that's what you really want. I'm not gonna knock it, right? But if it's not 90% of the time, you're not gonna want to do that. That's just something that you're not gonna want to do. Passion says that she notices that when her mind and soul are aligned, I don't snap. That's a
Absolutely.
great
That
one.
is such a great
That's a mindset one, which I'm gonna hop into because I'm like that mindset dude, right? So when you talk about your alignment, right? So let's say you have a routine, right? So this is part of this how to beat bad snacking habits is to create a routine, creating a morning routine, creating an evening routine, right? So when she says that she's out of alignment, alignment could mean a lot of different things for people. Alignment can be I get up 6 o'clock in the morning to go work out at 7, I journal at 8, right? I meditate for 10 minutes, I take a walk, or I do whatever, you know what I mean? That can be your alignment, right? So if you tend to stay up later at night and you don't get a lot of sleep the next day and you don't complete the things that you normally would do, here and now you're out of alignment. And when you're out of alignment, when you're outside of your normal routine of what keeps you healthy, then you tend to do things that don't match with your alignment, right? So when you are in alignment and having a routine, having some type of routine to keep you in alignment will help you to stop snacking, right? Because when you went to work out, when you've meditated, when you've journaled, right? When you have done your moment of gratitude, all of those things, you're not going to be in the space that you want to just go and binge on something, right? But if you're staying up late at night, if you're working longer hours than you should be, and you know that you can control that per se, and when you're doing things that are outside of your alignment, you're going to tend to raise your stress levels. And when you raise those stress levels, then you end up making emotional decisions that aren't in your best interest, right? So you got to keep those things in mind when you're talking about how to beat those snacking habits, right? So that's the first thing we covered. We talked about Amy says it's the inconvenience. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So Passion says the worst thing for me was Instacart. I could order anything. Yes. I know that one for a fact. Instacart. No, but that's facts though. Like one of the people will show up to your door and like I want a bag of Doritos. Let me go to Instacart. I'm gonna order a bag of Doritos. I'm gonna order this. I'm gonna order that, and then it's gonna show up in your house 10 minutes later. So with that, yeah, it is. But
I guess I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
I was only using Instacart for like groceries.
Yeah, you can do that kind of stuff. So you gotta really, but then you still gotta wait for Instacart to show up. You gotta go on.
Money, though. Like I'm a little bit too cheap / frugal to be paying that much. Like the Doritos are like 1.5 times, isn't it?
Yeah, but like I said, if you gotta go through all of that, then enjoy it. Enjoy the hell out of it, right? But that's not something that's gonna happen that often because them little Instacart payments gonna start adding up. You can be like, is this really worth it? Right? But if you gotta do it, like if you do all that, then yeah, absolutely enjoy it, right? So that's part of that process as well. All right, so we talked about environment. That's the first thing. Clean up your environment, and once you clean up your environment, then you're going to be in a better space to not have those types of things at your disposal as easy as they were. What's another thing that they can do, Tosh, outside of their environment?
Even adding on a little bit to environment is making it so that it's not so accessible. I hear like a lot of folks will say like, oh, well, my kids eat it. First of all, your kids don't need to be eating that either, like in real life. That's real life. But then, you can get your kids some snacks that you don't like. But I understand in times of desperation, you'll even eat things that you don't like,
No.
But then I would say keep these things out of sight. So make it so that it's not so easy to come by. So it could be putting it like in the back. Angie,
you don't get out of here. Get out of here. You can watch that on the replay.
Start all over.
No, we're not starting over.
Yeah. So put something in the back of the pantry. Or if you have children, quite frankly, you can and I know this will probably change it up too. Have your kids have access to it, or tell them they are the ones that will hand it to you. Some sort of way to create some, distraction. The other part about that is with environment. Think about some of your routines. So, what do you do when you first get home? Like, let's say you are out in the workplace at this point and you're coming back in. Is the first thing that you do, is it that you go to the fridge or pantry and look for a snack while you're trying to, do dinner? Okay, if so, maybe even change how you come in the house, change your pattern because, we do things on autopilot so often. So switch that up just a little bit. Maybe you go in a different door. Maybe you don't go through the kitchen as you are coming home. You go a different route. So even something that simple can change it up. But outside of environment, another thing that you can do is just, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought there. So,
Since I know you're getting kind of older, so I want to make sure that you can grasp that back. Everybody else in the comments right now, if
older than I am, my G.
Everybody in the comments right now, put in the comments what are some of the things that lead you to snacking. What are some of the things that lead you to snack or binge out on some stuff and not only that, put your binge out or put your snack of choice, right? Put your snack of choice.
Those Doritos, right?
Yeah, listen, Sade, you know you something. Boy, look at here. Look, I remember it had to be 2 years ago, one of my coaches for my birthday, she bought me a bag of Doritos. I was like, yo, it was like this ginormous bag. And I was like, yo, you are awesome. It was like, yeah, so that's Doritos are definitely one of my go-tos. I have a thing for that. I'm not a nuts person. I'm not like a trail mix fruit type snack person. I'm more so like the bad stuff. I like the bad stuff.
Yeah. And I'm with Miss Sylvia. I don't have anything. I have road trip food, but yeah, because he was really tripping on that, Lori. I don't even know what he's talking about. He does a whole 5-minute monologue, asking something, and then
still gonna say nothing. Nothing. I don't snack on nothing. I'm just 2% body fat and just eat yogurt and eggs. That's still right there all day. Angie says cookies, cakes, and chips. That's a heavy.
Oh, that reminded me of what I was going to say.
He told you. Look.
Angie, don't say anything else.
I'm not.
Here we go. So some of it could even be that you give yourself rules. I live by just having certain rules, I don't do X, like my rule of not having snacks in the house. They just don't, it doesn't happen, And sometimes people can say okay, it's hard to create those rules, but you create rules for yourself every day because that's how you choose to govern yourself. Right. So you can even have as a rule, I don't bring this into my house, or I have to go out to eat that one thing that's such a trigger for you. I know for me, once I kind of created that rule of no longer eating sweets, that made my snacking a lot easier because that was mostly what I would bring into the house or one of my biggest temptations. So even create rules around that biggest temptation. I have to go out to eat it. It has to be a special occasion. And then just taking that pause to ask yourself the question. But I really believe that when it's out of your house, that eliminates most of it, quite frankly.
Okay. Yeah, snap. Let me see. We got some comments in here. The depression is huge struggle in dealing with right now. I love all things potato. Oh yeah, chips, fries, mash. Pray for you. Don't worry.
So let's talk about that just for a quick second. Wait. So if you love,
pause. I got a question. Do you want to do something really cool, bring somebody on to do
something really cool?
Okay. I was thinking we could do something really cool. Is we could do a hot seat. Is anybody ready for a hot seat? If you would like a hot seat right now with me and Coach,
come in.
Let me know, and we will post the link in the comments. Just put your hand up, and we'll do a hot seat with somebody, and kind of figure out with them. Of course, you got to be okay with coming on camera, but we can do a hot seat with somebody and kind of figure out what their challenges are and kind of work through them with you. All right. So if you want to do a hot seat, let us know and we'll post the link in the comments. Just put your hand up in the air and we can do that with you as well. So I'm gonna read some of these comments. Oh, so finish what you were saying.
So one thing that I'll say, you love all things potatoes. So go for the purest form of potatoes.
Okay.
So the reason that chips are so desirable is that they've taken the potato and just insulted it to the nth degree into turning it into something that melts in your mouth so easily with a whole bunch of seasoning on it, fried chip. Okay. You can eat a whole bunch of chips, but legit, you can't eat a whole bunch of potatoes. So if you like potatoes, word up, eat the potato. I know that's not nearly as sexy as the crunchy chip because there's a lot of things that get thrown off in your sensory with your tongue and with your brain eating the potato chip. Remember, marketing, they want you to come back and spend money on them and they don't care about your health or your goals. Right. But if you stick to the potato, you can even make, potato wedges. If you have an air fryer, dude, make some fries in the air fryer. I know that takes a little bit more effort, but you're still getting that whole potato thing. Like you can season it with some of those things. They even have because aside from what Benny was saying, that wait, hold on. There we go. That's how I have to do that BS about, nacho cheese. Cool Ranch is actually a very cool Dorito. And they have a Cool Ranch. I'm like, I have to do the mirroring with the thing there. They have a Cool Ranch Dorito seasoning blend.
You're disrespectful.
Benny, pause. And then you can you can make potatoes into wedges, flip it with that seasoning, throw it in the air fryer. Yo, you're getting the best of both worlds if you're a Cool Ranch Doritos person. But just eat the potato. One, you're getting a lot more nutrients from it. You're getting vitamins and minerals from it. It has fiber. Your Doritos or whatever chips it doesn't have fiber in it. So you're getting the good things for you and you're still satisfying that carby craving, but you're not going to overeat that. You can't eat a whole bag of potatoes, but you can eat a whole bag of potato chips.
Yes. I'm not eating a whole ass bag of potatoes, but I eat a whole bag of potato chips though. Sorry. All right, good. Let me see what else they say. Lori says, I've been doing awesome, not snacking, but I do enjoy some ice cream occasionally. I went to a fun size chips. Fun size chips, man, let me tell you something. Fun size chips are the worst for me. But I am proud of you too, Lori. I am very proud of you. Fun size chips are Fun size chips would drive me crazy because they're like this big and you take like 2 bites.
Like that much of air in it.
Yo, like if I want to eat Doritos, I want to eat a bag of Doritos.
But even your bag of Doritos, like you're getting a bag like that, and then the Doritos are like that.
I don't care, but fun size. Well, then think about how many Doritos are in a fun size bag.
The amount that you should be having if you're going to have it.
You're right. Portion ass Doritos. Nobody want to eat no portion Doritos. I'm mad. All right.
Benny, what's your role? You said that you're a health coach, Benny? Motivator?
Yeah, I'm just saying that when I'm snacking, dang it. I'm just being transparent. I'm being transparent. Okay?
You were like
all the coaches out here right now, they're not transparent. I am. I want to be transparent.
I'm transparent too.
Let me be transparent. Kelly says late night evenings. I see ain't nobody jump on this hot seat though. And
what's up, y'all?
Don't nobody want this.
She can't click the link.
Wow.
Is it really? Oh, it's not coming on as a link. So you might have to do a copy paste.
Yeah, Angie be acting like she.
I know.
Angie acting like she like 80, like she don't know how to.
I'm not gonna jump on Angie. Angie's my girl, but like Angie,
come on now. Come on. Kelly said late night evenings. Yes, this is me right here. I'm good throughout the day. I don't have to snack a lot through the day, but late night evenings before bed. Yes, Kelly.
Angie, that link is clickable.
And no, I already brushed my teeth. Thing does not work yet.
It does work. Like
I'll tell you that.
That stuff works because you don't feel like brushing your teeth all over again. And the toothpaste, it doesn't taste right.
I am an eater, but not so lazy I wouldn't rebrush.
That's her obstacle. She's like, that's all I need.
Yo, I definitely, yeah. See, I am that lazy person that if I brush my teeth, I ain't eating nothing else. So I'm like, I ain't eating
It
nothing else.
works. It works.
Yeah, it does, yeah. But you got to be a whole type of level of greedy to brush your teeth, eat, and then rebrush again, Kelly. So I feel you on that, right? You got to be a whole level.
Yes.
Yes, you do. Still says, I didn't say all of that, but I'm not a sweet eater, and the things I do have the average person wouldn't like. So give me something. But hold up. So we're not saying that snacking has to be unhealthy things. You can snack on healthy things and still gain weight.
Issues.
Right?
Yeah.
You can still gain weight from eating unhealthy things. I mean, from eating healthy things. So whether you snack healthy or snack unhealthy, you're still snacking. It's like brown sugar and white sugar, right? People are like, oh, I don't use white sugar. I use brown sugar. Guess what? Sugar.
Always bust bubbles with that one.
Yeah, it's still sugar. So if you snack healthy, you snack unhealthy, you still snacking, right? So let's just call it what it is. Brandon says, yes, Brandon, I know it feels good, right? Tastes good. Angie, we still waiting on you. Lori says, I'm insulted in such an amazing way. Yo, that's what it is. No
one can get into the link. Dude, why you send them a bad link?
I just gave them the link. What are they talking about?
Bad link. They're not able to do it. Passion can't get in there. Angie can't get in there. See, we were trying to clown on Angie, but
hold on. I'm gonna post this link again, y'all. Y'all might be looking at it on my page. I don't know. That's the link right there. That's the live stream link right there. If you're watching it on Rebel Fit, you might just have to copy and paste it. If you're watching it on my page,
but we'll see what's up.
All right.
Lori, but here's another thing on with the healthy snack.
Wait. I don't mean because I know how your thoughts go in and out. So I want you to save that real quick, okay?
Yo!
Look, Cool Ranch is my favorite. What? We're gonna continue to have this Dorito conversation.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Cool Ranch. You know, like the other, like Tosh, like a couple minutes ago, you said that you said that sometimes if you're a bad snacker, you'll even snack on things that you don't even like.
Yes.
That's me with Cool Ranch. Like if I want Doritos that bad, and if there's no nachos and there's Cool Ranch, I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna suck this up and eat this right now. I have a problem.
The first thing about Cool Ranch Doritos is the aftermath of your breath. That's the only thing bad about it.
Yeah. It's definitely not. It's
definitely not pretty. You eat Cool Ranch Doritos by yourself.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right. So nobody can get on the link. Is that what I'm hearing right now? I put it on my page. So if you guys wanted to get on, I put it on there. I don't understand why you guys cannot get on the link. What is it telling you when you're clicking on this link? Look, I just clicked it. The 98. Let me see. Make sure. All right. So this is the live link. Live stream link. You should be able just to click this hot seat again.
And what happens when you click it?
Who, me?
Yeah, dude.
Well, I don't want to click it because
I understand you don't want to, but if we're not doing what they're trying to do, then we don't know what's up. Like,
all right. So while they're trying to do that, maybe it's not going to work. Who knows? But what are some other things that they can do? Well, first of all, before we even say that, and I'm going to let you think about that, Tosh, some other things that they can do to help beat these bad snacking habits. We are doing a no snacking challenge coming up, right? It is kicking off on Sunday, all right, which I believe, what's the date on Sunday? The 8th? Yes, Sunday the 8th. It is kicking off. Yeah, there you go. Brandon says it works.
Yeah, it does work. I just clicked it as well. So Brandon, you coming on here?
Passion. Oh wow, you calling my Passion's on here right now. I'm about to get her on.
All right, Passion.
But we are doing a no snacking challenge coming up. It is going to be on the 8th of November. It is a 14-day snacking challenge, and what we're going to do is take principles that we're teaching you guys. Right, we're taking these principles that we're teaching you guys. And then we're going to implement that into the challenge by giving you accountability every day. So there's going to be daily check-ins every day. They're going to be, daily check-ins every day. There are going to be some tips that we're going to put into there, and we're just going to really just hold each other accountable by just not snacking for the next 14 days. All right.
I'm telling you, there's some big results that come in there.
Big results. All right. So let's get Patty on here real quick because she's on here. Patty, what up? Welcome to Health.
I made it.
I haven't turned it
up. Wealth, Coach Tosha and I. And so tell us a little bit about your snacking and some of the things that happen with you when it comes to that.
So the big story is I just went through a huge medical issue. So I almost died twice. And so with all of that stuff, I ended up
I'm like, how do you just brush over that?
Like, how do you just brush over I just almost died twice? Like there is no brushing over I almost died twice. Okay, first and foremost, welcome. We're glad that you're here. We are glad that you are with us.
Wow, yes.
We are glad that you are with us. But okay, cool. So you said you went through a big medical thing, and then what happened?
So I lost 100 pounds because of my medical issue. So long story short, I had a surgery. The medical equipment malfunctioned during the process, so I have had to have 9 additional corrective surgeries since the last year. So I've had 9 in the last year. I'm going to have another one in probably January. However, I ended up losing 100 pounds because, I couldn't eat. I was on a feeding tube and everything for about 6 months. And so I lost 100 pounds. I was excited about it. But the problem is that didn't solve my food problem, my relationship with food. So, I have gained back 15 pounds. So it's all 15.
Okay, 15.
Yeah, okay. 15 Corona pounds. But, even during this process, I couldn't work out. I still can't. I can walk a little bit. So I've started doing that. But it's just the relationship with food that I have and depression or, whatever happens in life that forces me to feel like food is my friend or it's my emotional support animal. In a sense, so it's really a lot of times it's the starches, it's the potato chips, sometimes cookies. I'm not really big on like sweet stuff. Mm-hmm. It's those potatoes, like it's my demon. So like Tasha said, you're exactly right. I cannot eat a whole bag of potatoes, but 2-3 bags of potato chips, I'm in it. So I need some love because my husband can't do it. Because I just ignore him. So I know you and Benny will come at me hard. So bring it.
Okay. So first of all, let's identify what the trigger is, right? So the trigger is that you binge out on these potato chips, like all of those things are the things that are happening, right? What happens after?
Well, even more so, what happens before?
Right.
So what's causing? Like what's happening? So what are the chips? Is it specific, very, very specific?
It's a lot of things. Sometimes it's just bored, me being bored.
No, I mean like what's the thing? Is it a specific bag of chips or brand of chips?
Oh no, all chips. The Cool Ranch, I like those too, just but
did it happen yesterday or has it happened already today? I know these are your confessions. You on the hot seat. It wasn't going to be
okay. See?
No. Okay. So what are those, my dear?
These are potato sticks. Yep. They're the sticks chips,
So what's going on, one, where they're that close to you? And what's happening before you eating them? Like, is there something going on right now? You don't have to go deep, dark, dirty, but like, is there something going on right now? Like, why are those that close to you?
No, I'm a complete open book. I was abused in the hospital, so there's a lot of trauma that I'm going through, and so to get through it, it's kind of one of those things. It's a substitute for my reality. Does that make sense?
But like today. So the last time you grabbed them to eat them from that baggie, what happened? What was going on right before that?
My boss sent me a stressful email. It irritated me, and I picked up these chips.
Okay. So it's like a response to, let's just deal with that one. So stress, stress is a thing. When you got that stressful email from your boss, what did you feel?
I felt, in a sense, disrespected. I felt like she kind of talks to me like I'm dumb sometimes, and I struggle as, feeling like someone feels that about me when I know I'm not, and it just kind of takes over me, and I just need something to remove those thoughts from my head.
Okay, so boss sends you stressful email, or this email happens, okay? The email happens. She says words, right? And I'm just getting facts, and then I'm gonna go emotion, and then I'm gonna go what happened. So facts are, you got this email. Email said what it said. Benny left the building. Okay.
No.
We did it together then. All right. So said these words. You read said words, and you felt a certain way about those words.
Correct.
Those words stimulated emotion from you. So you felt stress, you felt disrespected. And then you instantly grabbed the potato sticks.
Yes. That's exactly how it was.
What did the potato sticks give you?
If I'm being completely honest, it gave me a stomach ache, to be honest.
Okay.
But at the moment,
I think what she's saying is, what satisfaction?
Yeah,
right.
What feeling or emotion happened immediately after you ate those chips?
It kind of made me feel like, okay, I have this comfort, and now I can, respond in a way that, won't be disrespectful back to her. So it's kind of like helping me to cope, a coping mechanism maybe.
Okay. Now, if your house was void of all things snacky, chippy, crunchy, what would you have done? Like, food's not an option. What would you do?
I would just kind of take
happened prior happened. I'm sorry?
I would probably take the time to take a step back and process everything that was going on so that I could, respond or react properly.
And how would you have done that?
Just thought process, probably, just digging deep in and trying to figure out what, like you just walked me through, what was it that made me feel this way, and kind of break it down and then get back to what I was doing.
Okay.
So if the thing wasn't there, right, you would find a different way to handle that stress without going to the emotional connection or tie that you have with food.
Right.
So you see where the issue is, right?
Correct.
Or no. I want you to tell me what that issue is.
What the issue is removing, I am putting things in my space that are a temporary fix that don't actually fix the problem. It causes more harm to myself than.
So what is something that you can do within 60 seconds or less? What is something that you can do within 60 seconds or less that helps to, trigger, this happens, boom. What is something that you can do now to change that around quickly?
First of all, keep those temporary fixes away from me, and just try to think.
Nope. Away how though? I guess that's my thing, because away is saying cabinet, right? Away is like where?
I don't like you right now, but what you're saying is don't get in my house.
We're friends. It's okay. I'm most people's frenemy, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. What is away mean? Because away sounds away isn't strong enough, right? Because away means that it's something that you can still reach and touch.
Yeah. That's deep.
Outside of the house is away.
Well, well, there's what you need to do, and that's fine. That's cool. You could give us that mouthpiece all day. What is it that you're willing to do? Because that's all I care about.
Well, you know, the reality is, if I continue on this path, I am going to die, you know, so it's just a matter of what does my life mean to me, or even the people that care about me.
Exactly.
You know,
so what are you willing to do?
I am willing to change all that, you know, just to be more selective on the things that I bring into my house.
Nope. Specific. Nope. What are you willing? Because you gave me a lot of stuff. I need something like check. We crossed that out. I know, y'all, this is what it's going to be like. But
it's okay though, because I got on here for that reason. Like I said, my husband talks to me and I ignore him because I can't, you know. But he's telling me the truth. So what am I willing to do? I don't want to say what I'm willing to do. I want to say what I am going to do is stop bringing these things in my house.
Boom.
Now are we committed to that?
Yeah, because my kids are eating what I bring in here too. So, you know, if I think about it, I am adding more harm to their lives as well, you know, so I will stop bringing these items into my house because I know I fuss at them.
You ready for the next step though?
I am.
Okay. How much is in your house right now?
A lot. I tried to hide behind my hat, but it didn't work.
No, I saw that. It was like the cat that like hides behind the comforter, and I'm like, yo, I still see your phone.
We can still see you.
I still see you. Yeah.
So, are we going to see a picture later that we're both tagged in with these things in the garbage? Not like the kitchen garbage. Oh, I saw those eyes. Eyes got big. Not like the kitchen garbage, but like the garbage, like the outside your house garbage.
I can do that. And you know, the crazy thing is I will do that.
Okay.
I will do that.
No.
How long do I have? I will.
Okay. What time can we expect to see this picture with our tags in it?
So I'm on the West Coast in California. I am working. I'm off at 3. So let's say around 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Wait, but you're done at 3.
I know. I have to take my daughter to gymnastics at 3:30.
Okay.
Do you see the power though in how you speak? And that's why we kept cutting you off, not because we're trying to be rude, but a lot of times when you say things or when people say things, not you per se, but just in general, when we say it, right, there is an intention behind it, right? So when I ask you, well, what you're willing to do, it's not what you're willing to do because you've always been willing to do it. Is what are you actually going to do, right? What are you actually going to do? There's a difference between what you're willing to do and what you are actually going to do. So when you say that I am willing to do this, it doesn't mean that you're going to actually take action on that thing. But when you say, I am going to do this, what are you willing to do and what are you going to do are two different things. So that's why we keep bringing it up. Like, pause, no, stop. Because you're saying what you're willing to do. You've always been willing to do this.
Well, not necessarily, because it's a whole process. Because we got an airy-fairy, and then it was like, okay, out of the airy-fairy stuff, sorry, I know I put it like that, but it's all love.
It's all good.
Okay, so let's narrow it to what are you willing to do? And then, yes, that next step is what are you committed to doing? And I mean, we're talking commitment, like, and these are assumptions, but I feel like you're a really good person. Like you're committed to your marriage. Like you're committed to your children, like that kind of commitment. Like these things aren't going to be broken.
Yeah.
So like when that happens, are you also committed to not bringing in new stuff?
Yeah. And it's funny, I talked to my husband about that last night because my son has a problem too. And I can see I'm feeding into that by bringing these things to him. So, you know, more so for my kids, I know for myself, but when you have to find more motivation for me, it would probably be to save my kids.
Understood.
So one thing that you did bring up that I did want to touch on is you keep bringing your kids up, right? And you talk about your family, right? A lot of things that we don't realize is a lot of decisions or a lot of things that can keep us from doing the things that we don't want to do is by identifying why we do it, right? So whenever you get into a situation where you're feeling like, I want to do this. The next thought that should come into your head is why I shouldn't, right? And those things that you talk about, I can see the passion in you, Passion, when you're talking about your children. I can
Absolutely.
see the passion in you when you're talking about your husband and your family and all of those things, and you don't want to die. You want to be here for them. These are not things that I'm saying. These are things that you've said, right? So these are things that you want to accomplish to be around your kids. So when you're thinking about ordering that thing to come into your house, or when you're thinking about putting things into your home, when you're grabbing that thing to put into your cart, you're going to think to yourself, look at the people who are around you, right? And this is a deep thing, right? Look at the people around you. Look at what they see you doing, right? They see you putting these things into your cart. And then think about what you just told us. Are you representing yourself to them the way that you want them to live? Are you leading them on the same path that you've taken yourself on, right? So think about that every single time. And I'm guaranteeing you, when it drives that emotion in you to be like, yo, like, I don't want this to be their life, right? And I don't want it to be my life. That emotion should be strong enough, or hopefully will be strong enough, or will be strong enough to tell you to not do it.
And then sometimes what can be helpful as well is labeling it, because I've had a couple things that I've cut out, food wise, that just wasn't serving me. And sometimes it was this, and I'm not an emotional eater. Like I'm kind of more like Tamara, I don't eat. But what can be helpful, and what's been helpful to clients of mine as well, is labeling that thing. So you're no longer reaching for chips. You're no longer reaching for these potato sticks. You're reaching for, hey, wow, I'm feeling this. I'm going to go grab my crutch right now. I'm going to go grab my my coping mechanism of dealing with my boss. So even if you don't eat chips, you eat coping mechanisms. Even that, it sounds like, well, damn, why you had to say it like that?
Yeah.
But that's how it should feel, because that's what you're grabbing. If you had no emotion tied to it, right? And that's not to demonize chips, because chips are delicious. But let's say that there were no emotional ties involved. So you were eating chips just because the chips look delicious and I feel like it. There's no emotion to it. There's no problem with that. Then you're eating chips, right? But you're not eating chips at that time. You're not eating potato sticks. You're eating, I'm going to punish my boss by punishing me, coping mechanism.
Wow. Yeah.
And if you label it like that, it sounds like I don't want to touch that. No,
that's powerful.
That is
so
very
sometimes we have to label things as what it actually is, and that will also keep us away from it. Dude, this old person has some wisdom.
You got a whole soul, girl. You got a whole soul.
Yo, that was good stuff.
Yeah, that was some church stuff there, boy. That was some church stuff right there. Woo! Lori said you got there at the ceremony when you throw all that junk away.
Yes, we want to see it. You can go live. You can go live with us.
Okay.
Burn. Kelly bomb head. She was like, "Oh my God, Tosha dropped the bomb."
And I felt accomplished before, because I went through this whole organizational thing, and I'm telling you, every little container has snack on it. I'm not kidding you. So I gotta throw my snacks away and then rename it.
Yes. But we're not bringing it back into the house anyway, so there's nothing to rename.
And if
we're gonna bring in some healthy snacks.
Listen, no.
We'll talk about that too. We'll talk about that.
Trouble again.
Stop adding connotations to snacking. We're not
doing any of that.
No, okay. No. Snack is snack. Sugar is sugar. Okay, salt is salt. Snacking is snacking. Whether it's healthy or not, it's still snacking. All right. So, and if all fails,
this is what you'll learn in our 14-day thing too, because it's not saying okay, should I throw away all the nuts? No, there's such things as mini meals. But there's time frames, there's mindsets, there's everything that goes along with that. And that's what you'll get as a part of the challenge. Differentiating between, meals and snacks and snacky and all of those things. And one thing I will tell you, it'll save you some money.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. That is honestly my biggest monthly bill is food.
Yeah.
Out of all the bills that we have, the biggest monthly bill is food. It's ridiculous.
Yep. And you'll feel better. You'll feel, you'll feel aligned, like you said, right? You'll feel Tosha just bounced.
Where did Tosha go? Come back with the word.
You will feel way more aligned just doing it. Here she go.
See what I touched. Don't ask me what I touched. I
say, was my food too much?
No. Don't ask me what I touched. I'm just gonna cross.
Good stuff, Passion. Well, thank you, Passion, for coming on. Are you signed up for the challenge?
I'm about to. I got the email this morning, so that's why I did it. But thank you so much for the real. It was good.
Yes. This is how we coach in our programs. All the programs that we do, this is how we coach. It's been crazy, but yeah. Let's thank you for coming on, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you on the inside.
All right, cool. Yo, this has been great today. We got to roll. But this has been amazing. That was a great hot seat. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's call. If you did, give us a little thumbs up or give us some hearts. Give us some hearts. Give us some likes if you like this, whatever. And this is what we're going to do. I don't know, Tosh. We may have to move this to a different time. I think this I think we'll get more views if we did it a little bit later. I don't know.
Okay. We'll chit chat about it.
Yeah.
If I can remember it, we'll chit chat about it.
You can. There you go. You're just keeping on with this here.
No, I got some. I'm a little sodium-y over that comment. So
Oh, sodium-y. I like that. Sodium-y, not salty.
Himalayan salt on that.
Sodium-y. Good stuff. My mom talking about she need an app password on here. Like, Mom, what are you talking about right now? What's my mom talking about? All right, this was awesome. Yes. Good job. This is how we coach, y'all. This is what we do at in the crew. So if you're interested joining that 14-day challenge, y'all can get a lot of good benefits from that. Yo, we are out. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Enjoy. Try not to stress too much about what's going on right now in our society.
Control the controllables, y'all. Control the controllables.
Right? Control the controllables. Yo, y'all have a blessed day. See y'all soon. Peace.
Bye.